So there's my form. I screwed that one, screwed those together to get that square, screwed that one, corner, square, and then that one over there. And I just kind of tapped those in the ground to keep the form from bulging out, you know. Since it's on a slope, you guys probably can't see, but it's sloping toward me like that. The side, that corner right there is level. Okay, going that way, it's level. Going from here, I have a slight slope down. This one is slightly sloped down. And what that's going to do is, since I'm using this pad as an air conditioner unit, it's going to allow slight drainage this way. And if it rains on it, it's going to drain this way, not into the building or over into the, you know, I don't want any of that. I want the water to go this way and out through the yard. The next step is going to be to put the gravel. You can see there's a huge gap right here. Okay. And we're actually going to use the gravel to fill that in, because we don't want to use that much concrete. That would be unnecessary, especially for something like this. But fill that in with gravel, and then we're going to be ready for concrete. I'm gonna add rebar and mesh, which is completely unnecessary for something like this, but I had some laying around, so why not? That's gonna be the next step. I'm gonna pound some rebar in, and then I'm gonna start with the concrete. Once I get some concrete down, I'm gonna press the mesh into it, and then fill it back up, or top it off with concrete, screed it, and then float it, and it should be good. Alright guys, so I got the pad finished. I did a materials list, or I set out a materials list before I actually made the pad, and I'm going to start doing a materials list after I'm done with the pad, because I end up forgetting something or having to go back and get things. And I actually went back and got like 3 different things. So the pad's finished. I'll show you that in a second. But I ended up using forms, of course. I ended up using like 1/2-inch plywood, and I cut it 4 inches because I wanted my pad to be 4 inches. And it's a little bit more than 4 inches in places because I didn't get it completely level. Who cares? You're never going to see it. I used 2x6s and 2x4s that I had cut up into like 1x2s, and I put a point on them. I made my own stakes. I used screws to hold this stuff together. I used, and you can see during the video me using all this stuff, so you'll get an idea. But I used screws to hold the forms together. I used recycled concrete for my stone base. Really, ideally, 57 stone is the best, but it's Sunday, it's the day after Christmas. I didn't have 57 stone. I had recycled concrete, so that's what I used, and it's completely fine. It's just for, to me, really for this, it's unnecessary kind of, but it keeps the water drained well under the pad, and I don't have to worry about anything washing or nothing like that. So, but I used the level to level my forms, and I think I explained earlier, but if I didn't, I sloped it away from my garage to keep the, when it rains, and this is going to be used for a mini split system, so the condensation, I want to go away from the building. I don't want water going toward it. You always got to keep that in mind. I used a circular saw to cut the wood. I used a square to keep the circular saw straight. I used a pencil, a tape measure for measuring and marking. Impact gun, if I haven't already said that, for the screws. I used a hammer. Well, I think it's like a 3-pound sledgehammer. I have 50 hammers. I just grabbed one, but I used a hammer to drive the stakes in the ground. I obviously used concrete. Sacrete has a concrete calculator that you can type in the square footage, and it'll tell you about how much you need. I think for this it said I needed 10 bags, and I think I used 11 bags, maybe. I think I used 11 bags, so it's pretty close. You're never going to have this perfect anyway, so I always get a little bit extra, maybe 5% or 10%, something like that, depending on how big your project is. I actually poured a huge, like a 40-something by 20-something pad back there, and I have a video of that. I'll show you. I did it with bagged concrete, and I saved myself like $7,000 using the Harbor Freight concrete mixer. And I'm going to do a review on that one day too. But anyways, back to what I got. Back to what I used. I used screws. Like I said, measuring tape. I had a big measuring tape. It's like a 300-foot reel for centering this in my building. I used a wheelbarrow, shovel, rake, hose pipe, obviously, water. I think I said concrete already. I used a bucket that was pre-marked with the water that I was going to need, and I used a tamp. Pretty sure that's everything I used. It's close to everything. Oh, an extension cord. You need power. I used rebar for this and mesh, kind of unnecessary. It was just like I said, it was more or less in the way on this, but I had it laying around. The mesh was kind of getting rusty, and I was like, I want to get that out of the yard. I don't want to throw it away, so I just threw it in there. So yeah, that's that. This is what the concrete looks like right after I'm done. You can't finish it yet. You got to kind of wait till this water comes off the top. Depending on the temperature, it could take 30 minutes. It could take 4 hours. I mean, it's just depending on how cold it is. It's 60 degrees today. That's the high. But this thing's in the shade, so it's a good bit cooler than that. So it'll probably be an hour and a half or something before I can actually finish this. But that's what we turned out with. I can't stress this enough. Since I'm using 1/2-inch plywood, 1/2-inch plywood's thin, 1/2-inch plywood's flexible. You noticed how many stakes I used, and that's to keep this thing straight. Okay, if I didn't use enough stakes, if I'd only used 2, this thing would probably be bulging out right now. See, that's pretty straight. That's pretty straight, and that's pretty straight, I guess. If I didn't use that many stakes, that thing would be bulging out, and it would look freaking awful. Alright, so it's been 2 days since we did our concrete forms, or since we did our concrete rather, and we'll get these forms off and see how bad it looks. I wasn't going to film anymore, but I'm not letting that thing whoop me today. I'll go ahead and show you the trick with the hammer I was talking about. There's probably other things you can use too, but I'm not a professional concrete guy, so I have no idea. See, you just get it running on the edges, and it looks good. Pretty much do that all the way around. Since I got you on camera, it's probably going to snap the whole thing in half. Because every time it seems like when I try to show somebody something, I have a bunch of issues. See, that don't look too bad. And all the splotchiness like that, it's just water. Maybe in a week or so, it'll be completely dry and it'll be light gray like regular concrete. But I'll go ahead and clean the rest of this up. Oh, and I'll show you this too in a second. But when I was talking about getting a shovel, you just get a shovel, pop it down in there, and this big chunk pops off like so. I'll show you that too. Let me clean this up real quick. So, you got that knocked out. There's your nice pretty edges. Okay, now we're gonna get this stupid thing out that gave me problems a while ago. There we go. And the reason it was stuck like that is because this piece of concrete must have, see, this piece of concrete adhered to it. You usually want to use like diesel fuel or oil, or they probably have some very expensive chemical to put on your wood to keep it from sticking to the concrete. I just use diesel or motor oil. Use motor oil. But anyways, oh yeah, I was going to show you this too. I'm getting a scatterbrain because I had a lot of stuff going on today. Today is the day that I ran this wire and ran that wire over there at the playhouse. So I've been busy all day. I told you, every time I try to film something, I have some kind of problem. It's also difficult doing it with one hand. See, that's all you got to do. I'm not going to film me taking all of it off, but see, get your shovel, you can pop that thing off. And it don't look too good right there, but I'm going to cover it up with probably some nice gravel or something like that. Anyways, and look, it's raining. See the raindrops? Anyways, that's how you do a pad. Hope you guys enjoyed.